Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be checking out how She-Hulk is going to do against Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut. So as we all know, or most of us do anyways, Juggernaut is probably one of the more annoying Labyrinth of Legends opponents, at least solo in one go, because I'd say him and Agent Venom are two of the harder fights that are left in there. The rest of them we have fairly good amount of counters. And yeah, so we're gonna check how She-Hulk does against this guy after her nerf, because before the heavy attack nerf she absolutely destroyed this guy. It was super easy, simple fight, no trouble at all. And here I do make a mistake. I do get clipped by his level 1. That's kind of like very silly mistake on my part, but it's not a big deal. It's not like we rely on our combo meter in this fight with She-Hulk. So long as we can maintain the Furies and how him shoot his special attacks in time, we're good. Now, what's changed for this fight? Obviously, because you can't spam your heavy attacks to constantly push him past the bar of power and refresh your slow, which is essential for this fight. You do kind of need to rely a lot more on backdraft intercepts, parry, block baiting heavy attacks, so on and so forth. So the fight does look different. It relies on you as a player much more than it used to before. So you have to be good at backdrafting, you have to be good kind of like with your parries, you have to be good at the power management of opponents' power bars and special attacks. But yeah, so the main principle here is fairly simple. We kind of have to keep a track of our slow debuff. Ideally we want it on at all times or almost at all times, and that passive unstoppable, even though it doesn't disappear with the slow active, it still has no effect as long as slow debuff is active. So if you haven't landed a heavy attack while the slow is there, it's still gonna remain there and he's still gonna be unstoppable and it's gonna work. So while that passive unstoppable is there, you need to kind of like count on actually Juggernaut being unstoppable if you do not have a slow debuff on the Juggernaut. Now, one thing that I did test in my first attempt, this is not my first attempt, this is my second attempt at this Juggernaut. What I did test in my first attempt is that if opponent is unstoppable, then in theory your heavy attack can be interrupted. But it doesn't work here. I don't know if it's just in Labyrinth of Legends or it's because it's a passive unstoppable buff or why, but basically yeah, while he has that passive unstoppable from his Labyrinth of Legends enigmatic ability, he can interrupt your heavy and he can smack your head in straight off. So be wary of that. You can't randomly throw heavy attacks thinking he can't interrupt them. So you do need to be careful. You do need to make sure there is that slow debuff active. Luckily, She-Hulk's reach once again permits her to punish Juggernaut heavy attack with your own heavy attack. So if you run out of parries, and this is kind of like an important bit, you want to conserve your parries, so you want to parry as little as possible if you do not need to throw a heavy attack. The rest of the fight should be done with kind of like backdraft intercepts and just being aggressive and shooting your special attacks. Now in this fight, just because I knew I might end up taking a lot of block damage or mess up, I wanted to be super careful with my health bar, so I'm not spamming special attacks at all. I'm keeping my power at 3 bars. In case I do mess up, in case I do need to give him like a bunch of extra power, in case something goes wrong. And yeah, in that case, I also do not have to take recall damage. If I would not be running suicides for this fight, I would be definitely using much more of my level 1s and level 2s, depending on situations. But that is kind of like important thing to keep in mind. Other than that, as we can see, once again, we're punishing his heavy attack with our own heavy attack. And we are safe to do so because as soon as we make contact with our heavy attack, that slow applies, his unstoppables go away, and we land the heavy attack safely. At this point, we're already at 31 Furies. We're hitting like 20k crits on our regular attacks, so it's like not bad at all. As we can see here, Juggernaut's at 50% health and we're going fine. We haven't really taken much block damage either, aside from that one level 1 that I ate at the beginning of the fight. We're not suffering a lot of block damage or any other kind of chip damage, and that's good. That's kind of like promising. That also indicates that you can probably do this fight with a rank 4 to a decent degree if you get Enrage Timer on the She-Hulk. Now, I will have a sloppy finish of this fight, which I was quite mad about, but yeah, so far, let's get there first. As you can see here, 248 hits in, and plus like 16, I think, was So we're basically at 270 hits at the moment, and he's at 33% health, and his health is starting to go down faster and faster because obviously our Furies are getting up there. We're hitting harder and harder. It was 38k medium crit. That's not bad at all. 24k light crit. And yeah, the main thing now after the changes, just need to keep an eye on that slow debuff, because if you accidentally dash in when your slow is about to wear off or has just worn off, you're going to be in trouble. Now there I did miss intercept, backdraft intercept, but luckily Nick Fury and Quake synergy saved me. That is really useful synergy for Labyrinth of Legends, and now for She-Hulk more than ever it is super helpful. But yeah, aside from that, I dropped my level 3 just because I wanted to give him a lot of extra power in order to be able to keep my Furies up, because if I would have lost them, I would have been so annoyed. Here I made a mistake. I dashed in while he was unstoppable. Luckily I didn't get punished for it. And yeah, the fight is here coming to a close. He's at 9% health only. So we can still clearly see that She-Hulk is one of the best options for this Juggernaut in Labyrinth of Legends. I don't know, honestly, any other Juggernaut solos that I have seen aside from She-Hulk. So there you go. Fiona can still smack the Jugs in Labyrinth. But yeah, that will be it for today. Here I'm eating a combo, but we're gonna finish it off with level 3. But yeah, anyways guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that share button, hit all the buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.